And we're on. What's inside? I think. Hang on. I think I have to come level with you.
Okay.
Otherwise.
Yeah, this is
and also, we should look a little bit at the camera, but mostly talk to each other.
Yeah. Eventually what we can do is have two cameras, you there, I there, and we can just face each other.
Or have a desk and then one that faces both.
Chris Williamson is stars inspired. Do you know what I mean? Wait, is it rolling?
It's rolling.
Oh, good. Right, we can start whenever. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ritch Podcast, episode 2. Rob, we're 2D. Come on. Yes. Okay. So I'm Mitch.
I'm Rob.
There we go. You see, guys, I'm like, wow, what a venture. Already started. Second episode. Love it. I wanted to speak to you, Rob, today, in particular anyway. Who runs the world, Rob? Tell me. Because I fell down this rabbit hole yesterday. I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. On YouTube, on the internet, do you know what I mean? Reddit. Who actually runs the world? Because you'll get so many different answers. There's no way it's like the Prime Minister of the UK. There's no way. It's like an elected puppet. Who actually has like power? Because you've got to think, like the CEO of BlackRock definitely has more power than the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, for example. Definitely. And it's not even up for debate. So I was just like, sorry, we got straight into it as well. I was like, who actually does run this world? Is it the CEO of BlackRock? Is it someone we're unaware of? Is it Klaus Schwab and his and his clan of country brigades? Do you know
Not
what I mean?
to keep the answer short, but I don't think we're ever going to be privileged to information. So we can only ponder about who does run the world. So are we ever going to know?
I know, but do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just get into this...
End of podcast.
No. Because it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, right, okay, so Klaus Schwab, obvious answer, you can make a case for. Is it the person nowadays who controls the internet, or is it the person who controls the money? Because I'm sitting there anyway thinking, all right, okay, so it's always been who controls the money or who controls the resources, for example. So resources and money have always been number one, but in a attention economy we now live in, is the control of the internet more important than...
Well, it certainly has the most power because you reach the most people, and it's propaganda, isn't it? It's marketing. You're being fed information from who, and I suppose that's the question of who's feeding this information. But we all get to contribute to that information. At the moment, if we post this podcast, we are providing people with information or no information at all.
No, but let me interrupt you there. Who allows us to put this information out there? Because whoever that is, who allows us to put our thoughts, put our opinions, put our podcast, Ritch Podcast, on the internet? Who allows us? Because that person, because you could say it's the CEO of Google, but then you can say it's the CEO of YouTube, but then who's controlling Google? Who's controlling YouTube? Who's actually the mastermind behind the control of the world? Because it's like, it's not... We're told we live in a democracy, aren't we? We're told we live in a democracy, vote for your Prime Minister, but it's like, that's not the most important person in the world. It certainly isn't. If I said to you, who's more important to the American economy? Is it Donald Trump or is it Elon Musk?
Well...
Because Elon Musk, we couldn't vote for him to be the CEO of Tesla, of Twitter, the richest man or known man alive. It's like we didn't get a say in that. So it's like that person, he definitely has probably more power than Donald Trump does. But the American people could elect Donald Trump as opposed to Elon for like this CEO of public figure.
Well, I suppose X now is probably one of the better platforms to go for then, because he's all about freedom of speech. And did you hear about recently about Elon Musk and what he said to the UK, well, basically to the whole of the UK? And it dates back a little while back when people were getting arrested for social media posts. And Elon Musk is obviously a big believer of freedom of speech, and so you can post whatever you want as long as it's not hate speech or whatnot and leads to violence on X. But then who decides whether it's hate speech? Well, luckily for us now on X, formerly Twitter, he gets to decide, or he has the constraints around what you can and can't post, kind of thing. But it's kind of a free-for-all now. But we are seeing on other platforms that there's limitations on what you can post.
It's so true, and it's like, but it's a slippery slope because the second you go into the real world of any form of censorship, I'm like, this road leads to Adolf Hitler's reign once again. For whoever you go to, it's like once you blur the lines between freedom of speech, like it sounds really bad, and this might get misconstrued, but the freedom of speech for an actual free society has to take precedent over freedom of discrimination. Yeah, it has to for it to be. I think anyway.
But too many people are being offended by freedom of speech, and that's part of the issue. That's driving these rules, driving these the content bans and things like that. Because I could call you fat, and if you were a different person, you'd be offended,
Right,
and we'd either be throwing hands if we were real men, or you've offended me, and I'm never going to speak to you again. I'm going to go out my way to to be horrible to you. But by calling someone fat shouldn't escalate to anything which it is in this day and age. And here's another question then. So when AI truly becomes its own,
let's not get into it.
its own self,
no,
then surely humanity is going to take a further advancement.
No, because
At the moment, it's being controlled, right? So it's by the powers that be, they're putting their constraints on AI. So we're only seeing a fraction of what's to come. But when AI is able to really have the ropes, and the reins, and do what it wants to do.
Like iRobot, wouldn't it? Will Smith
predicted
this 20 years ago.
Or will it be? Because I can't remember who it was, but someone said that it might have been Elon Musk. If you think about an ant society, underneath my block paving out there, there's an ant world that we don't know about or even think about, right? Yep. But we can impact that by moving things around. Yep. So maybe AI sees us in that same regard, that they will just operate freely and we will be the collateral damage.
I don't think it's coming to that yet, but when AI gets minds to the point they're more intellectually powerful than we are, then that's absolutely bound to happen. It's like, I don't know, like we are meant to be the smartest things on Earth. We're meant to be the smartest living being on Earth.
An organism,
smartest organism, because we've got to the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
People will say it's dolphins, but it's like, well, we're at the top of the food chain. Humans are at the top of the food chain for a reason. It's like, but humans are almost, with AI, self-sabotaging themselves.
Yeah.
To the point where they're not going to be the kings of the world anymore. It's like, can you imagine? Can you imagine anything more stupid in your life? They're saying, okay, imagine saying 50 years ago, we were going to create something that overthrew us as the kings of the world. Oh my God, you think you thick fucks. What are you doing? And now all of a sudden, like, people are just creating AI and robots where we just start getting like, we're finished. We're so finished.
But people think nowadays, as long as they're okay, fuck what's to come. And they may create something and be like, I created that, and this is something greater than us, and they'll thrive in that situation. But people don't care for anyone anymore. They don't care what's to come. There are people that, obviously there are people that care, but they're not the ones in power. And we can see it. You can see it from how the world's changing now. And I don't know, if we can't even get behind global warming, and people think global warming doesn't exist. Like, it was snowing the other day, icy, and then we had some massive storm, and now it's warm again. I'm out there you can be out there in a t-shirt if you want it to be. Like, how mad is that? We're supposed to be coming into the coldest months. Yeah. And weather's change, and weather can change, but we're seeing weather that we haven't seen before. So therefore, it's got to be a cycle, and we don't really know what cycle it is. So we've only ever known it from, well, for you, it's 24 years. For me, 30, 31, nearly 32 years of seeing the weather patterns.
Yeah.
But who's to say it doesn't do a full circle and just completely change?
We have a fucking ice age coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just have a total, because it's like humans are like, it sounds bad, but it is due to be like doomsday.
A great reset.
It's like, it's because it's just, there's only so many times. It's like, in life now, money has taken more priority than like your health as
Yeah.
a human. And it's like never has any animal been driven by something that isn't survival. And it's like humans are so far ahead of everything now that we've had to make this currency, which is actually from the inside out destroying us. I do not believe in socialism. No, it's stupid. Let's just get that thing clear before So this might be like, I don't know, some like purple-haired lady watches this and goes, "He's a fucking cunt." Do you know what I mean? No, I'm not a socialist. No, it wouldn't be a purple-haired lady. Do you know what I mean? It would be some like, I don't know.
Who's the purple-haired lady?
Oh, I don't know. That like Karen. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Karen.
Oh no, Karen.
What are you doing? But hello, Karen, if you're watching. It's good to see you.
Yeah, subscribe, comment.
Please do. Please do. Comment you love us, because
Yeah.
Rob is handsome. Do you know what I mean?
But money, you're right. Money, we are the only living species that thinks about something objectively more than how we see ourselves and how we see each other. We see this one thing and it drives us. Like back in the day where you would trade skills. So if you had a skill of plastering and I had a skill of carpentry, we would trade that skill off for each other, and that was our currency, or doing a good deed. And it's kind of, I kind of feel like we have to get back to that way of living. It's the generosity of doing things for each other, and the reasons, knowing that we need each other to exist. Whereas people are now more than willing to trample over someone just to get an extra couple of quid in their pocket. And that's the sad thing.
That would be the destruction of the human race.
But it is. Is it not already?
No, because it is already. It is, because you can see the seeds being sown from like for years now. But it like the lack of purpose that people now have, and people always relate their purpose now back to money, which is, I suppose, it's giving people purpose in that sense. But it's like you now got people saying like, "Oh, I need to find myself" and shit like that. I'm like, bro, we've never had that in humanity, like history. Do you know what I mean? Go out there, hunt something, eat, and fucking sleep and warm.
But that's probably why. Because if you've only ever lived in a secluded area and you've only ever known, yourself and a couple of other friends, and you've gone to your school and you've never really stepped outside like your area. If you've never really travelled past your postcode, like more than sort of 20, 30 miles away, that is you. You are feeling like that because you've explored everything. And my opinion to how we keep ourselves from mental illness or mental health issues is by having that constant change, but also constant change in dopamine levels.
Oh yeah.
Dopamine levels, serotonin levels. And that's why exercise, that's why we're both fond of exercise, because it gives you that. It gives you the endorphins after you've exercised. And for me, exercise has taken me across the country. Now doing triathlon and going across the country and exploring. I've had the privilege of travelling. So I know what's beyond, and I know there are better things, but also know there's a great life where we are now. You just have to make it. It's becoming harder and harder. But back to my original point is that when people just stop trying to achieve things, setting a goal and really going for it, and even just doing things, going for walks in the park, but choose a different park. Don't go to the same park. Don't do the same route. Go backwards. Go reverse route. And you see things from a different, perspective. And it's all about that. It's perspective. And I think people are just living in that tunnel vision, closed, and they're seeing things on social media that, you could be this if you only had this much money. It just drives you insane.
Yeah, we need a great dopamine detox. As like
How about this? And we petition for it. Turn off the internet for a week. See what it does to people.
It just couldn't. Society couldn't function in a way that like capitalism now would fail. Like we're so self-dependent on the internet. No, we're so dependent on the internet now as a race that the actual building blocks of society would fail. Like banks would close. So so money would no.
We say to people, right? Okay.
You no longer get workers because of the no money. Then other workers.
We planned for it. So this is where we'd have to go. Right, next year, 2025, in this time next year, in November, we're closing. We're shutting down the internet for a week.
They'd
freak out right now.
People would. If like say for instance a prime minister, for example, wanted to implement that. They're not in power, I know, we've just discussed that. But if someone said, right, turn off the wind, I think they get killed. Like, I genuinely think a person in power, to put that out there, they'll get assassinated.
But then now let's just like hypothesize. Let's just picture it. Let's just picture how it would be. Yeah, it may not be feasible or even realistic to happen in this day and age. But think about it. If when you don't have a phone, and next time you do this with your girlfriend, no phones, and you go out for a meal, whatever, or spend the weekend together. No phones allowed, and it has to be more than just a meal, right? So my original thought was, do it for an hour or two.
Couldn't even pay for the meal nowadays, so cash is gone.
Cash is not king. We went to even.
It should be though. It fucking should be, because you couldn't even go to a meal anymore without the fucking internet. Because let's not get started on that.
But anyway, so next time, go away for a weekend, but no phones allowed, and see what kind of conversation, see what kind of bonding you have with that person when you're just not distracted. And that's what it is. We've all got ADHD. We're all distracted because we're all thinking about, what about that reel? What about that post? And I know we are kind of hypocrites for it because we're posting a podcast, and we said it on the last podcast as well. But we're trying to find a balance, and we've got to find the balance. We want people to communicate more than ever, but we know we have to communicate through social media and the internet for people to hear that, to then do it. So what we want from the podcast, I'd say, is people to act and even just think more deeply than they are. So we want them to act to have a better life. So whatever health and fitness advice we are trying to give is because we want you to apply that to yourself. And
even then, we both disagree on that, because I tell a man in their 20s to eat six eggs a day. This is good for their hormones. You're telling them to eat plants.
Yeah, eat a plant-based diet. But then we've got to come to some sort of either a compromise, not an agreement, because it's not going to be an agreement. I don't agree with your diet. You don't agree with mine. I understand your diet, and I understand why I do mine. But there's a compromise. So would you advocate a carnivore diet?
I'd do that more than the vegan diet.
Yeah, but would you? No, that's not my question. Would you advocate it to someone?
No.
No. Why not?
Just add in some fucking fruit and veg.
Okay, so that's the compromise. That's the compromise, right? So it's not mine or your way. I'm just saying the reason why I went carnivore is because it's what people would think is the polar opposite of a vegan plant-based diet, right? Yeah. So you wouldn't advocate that. So I'm not telling you to go down a vegan route, because that's just a life choice. Without going down the nutrition route, because we've done this before.
Yeah.
And we'd have to cut the cameras and move the stuff out of the room, and then have a.
You'd beat me up, for fuck's sake.
I leave the cameras on. But it's about compromise, and whatever information you give, you want someone to take with a pinch of salt and apply elements of that. Try bits of, try the carnivore diet if that's what someone was advocating to do, if they thought there was health benefits to doing so. If someone could back it up and say, look, here's the reason why I think you should do it, try it. If it works for you, then it's work. It doesn't mean there's not a better way.
The thing is, it's also the difference is what you deem your own health, in the sense that someone might deem living to 120 as their health, but someone might deem living 60 years, but as feeling like a complete fucking king as their health. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's the goals. It's the goals of life. What is your goal? Is it longevity or is it quality of life? But someone can have a quality,
if you're feeling like a king eating more red meat and eggs than you would eating a plant-based diet, but you'd probably live longer eating a plant-based diet.
Because it's a luxury. That's only because we've deemed it as a luxury. So now it's the thought process. Meat. It was.
I'd argue living a plant-based diet is more of a luxury, simply because for years we have survived on animals. Like, it's for us to get. It ties into
we were both hunters and gatherers, and actually, if you want to go down into that rabbit hole, research it. We didn't have the luxury of killing all these animals all the time.
And who paid for that? Who paid for that study, Rob? Who paid for that research? Someone who we do not know about, because the internet and everything, we don't know who's in power, but we want to know. We want to get to the fucking bottom of this, okay? Want Joe Rogan make a fucking podcast, yeah, with Elon Musk, ask him who's the fucking who's the most powerful man alive.
He probably wouldn't be able to tell us.
He'll probably be like,
probably doesn't
I'm
even
gonna
know.
get shot. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna get shot if I say, and it's like, fuck, man. I want to know the answer.
Even when Elon Musk went to like 50 governors in the US, I think it's prior to Donald Trump, and said that we shouldn't go down the route of AI, and they just didn't listen to him. I actually think this is going to be a good, interesting partnership to see Donald Trump and Elon Musk and see what they do over the next however many years that he's in power and he's got Elon Musk by his side, because I think it's not only going to benefit the US. They're going to unravel like some feathers across the globe.
Yeah, they're going to ruffle.
Like you say, the richest man is backing one of the greatest nations. And are we losing our relationship with the US? Because if we are, it's a bad time for us. Elon Musk has these negative views of coming over to the UK just because of his love for freedom of speech and our need for putting people in prison for it.
No, it's like this country was like fucking finished. I think when London became uninhabitable for the majority, because London now is a shithole. Like, could you if I said to you, Rob, yeah, go live in London outside of Westminster for 10 years of your life, like, could you think of anything? That's literally a fucking prison sentence.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna be looking over your shoulder left and right in case you get fucking stabbed. You're gonna be dealing with the busiest roads, the most hellaciously disgusting, vile people, probably, like the attitude of it, the hideous pace of life. It's just like, I couldn't think of anything worse. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, obviously, alright, that's hyperbole, but like London, it's the most famous city in the UK, and it's fucking uninhabitable.
Yeah, I you know me. Put me in the countryside and put me away from people, and I'm going to flourish. That's kind of sad when I'm promoting people to be more connected than ever. But actually, I'd love to be connected with a community that thinks the same way. And at the moment, I'm surrounded by people that just don't align with my way of living. And if I could find a community that did care for having meaningful conversation every day, and staying healthy, staying fit, and just trying to explore life for what it is. And the post that I sent you yesterday about are we living in a simulation? Just because people do try and think beyond life, and realistically, it doesn't matter if we are in a simulation. So be it.
Oh well, we can't change it.
You can't change it. So the only thing you can change is how you're trying to live your life and what you're trying to achieve. But there's different levels of privileges. So we are only able to achieve certain things within a set time frame. So someone that has a lot of money, capital, is able to achieve something far sooner than we are able, unless we're able to speed up that process of gaining more money.
Well, we are quite privileged though, because we're born into one of the most richest countries in the world, where we're not having to walk 6 miles for water every day.
No, of course.
Like we're quite lucky anyway.
But that builds character in itself, though.
Yeah, that does build character, but it's still, we're quite privileged. It's like we were put in a good position to live a good life.
Of course,
yeah. And it's quite beneficial. It's like when I hear people from the UK saying, "Oh, I've lived this hard life." I'm like, you need some fucking world perspective, because it's like, neither of us grew up rich, did we? Like, and neither of us grew up in fucking nice areas. Yeah,
grew up
we
to be rich.
Grew up to be rich. But neither of us grew up with wealthy families. It's like no more than lower middle class. Like shit, not the best areas.
Yeah.
It's like you hear people like say, "Oh, like just go get some fucking perspective."
But then
travel to fucking like, I don't know, Travel to the slums of Nigeria. See what fucking tough life's really like.
Yeah.
Because your middle class suburban lifestyle is not hard because your internet went down for 10 minutes during the day. Fuck off. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Get some perspective.
Yeah, I think I'm quite observant in my approach to learning. So I like to learn by people doing things, and then I can emulate and copy rather than just sort of being told. So when I was able to travel a little bit, and I was able to see the slums and the poor, and they're actually bathing in, what you wouldn't even think to even look at, smell, or even walk down, and
Listen.
And it's sad times, but they're making the best out of their situation and probably not complaining. But equally, would you? Would you want to trade places with that? And so hear me out. So someone that is privileged, you can see it from outside perspective, maybe is privileged in what they've been brought up in Great Britain, not having to walk, whatever, so gets benefit, he can go on benefits, but hates their entire world, and hates everyone around their world. Well, that's not a meaningful life. But someone that is making the most, say, bathing in the gutters and the sewage, but not complaining about life, making the most out of it, and actually probably quite content with what they have, probably trade places for that.
Yeah, but we all have equal access to happiness. As to quote James Smith, sorry, I like James Smith a lot. So we all have equal access to happiness, because what is happiness? It's going for a walk with your family. It's stroking your dog, baby. But
these are all things you don't have to pay for.
This is what I mean. We all have access to happiness. It's just pleasure is a different story. Thank you, James Smith, as you articulated that very well when I watched your video, so I will give you the credit for that. We all have access to happiness. It's just not all of us have access to the same amount of pleasure. Pleasure for some people is, and this is for me and you either, a pleasure for some people is like a fast car. I couldn't give a shit what car is driving. I
haven't even got a car that works at the moment.
Couldn't give a rat's ass. Like, does it? I asked the guy at Toyota when I got my car, does it move?
Yeah.
Will it last 5 years plus? Yeah. And he says, yep, I'll pretty much guarantee you on this. Yep, absolutely. I was like, fucking, that's a car for me then. Yeah. I don't want a fucking fast car. What do I want that for? Materialism.
Don't get me wrong. Like, everyone's got a need for a little bit of speed. So, well, if you get in a Ferrari and you have a track day, but this is me. I wouldn't have to do it every day. But put me in a Ferrari, I'm going to enjoy that experience. But because I know that I don't need that every day to enjoy it. If I had it every day, at what point do you keep enjoying it? And maybe I'm saying it because I don't have a Ferrari. Maybe someone that has a Ferrari gets in that car and goes, "Wow, this is the shit." Every day they get in it and they absolutely enjoy it. That's for them. But some people, it's a materialistic thing. It's just like, I've got to have it. That's the status, the status level. Well, if you can get in your Toyota, my Hyundai that isn't working, but if you can get in that and enjoy that time every time you get in the car, well, you've won. It doesn't matter if you've got a Ferrari or a Hyundai. So if people can get in a Ferrari and they enjoy it every time, well, they've earned that.
Yeah, but then you question.
So it doesn't have to be materialistic.
Are they living a satisfactory life in the sense that if something like that makes you happy, the character of the person probably leads me to believe that they're probably very materialistic in their life choices. They don't. But we all are to some degree. They value the pleasure more in life, and that will eventually lead to an unsatisfied, unfulfilling existence.
Yeah, but only if you're looking for that next thing. So only if that Ferrari now is not making you happy.
Have you ever met someone with a Ferrari who hasn't? Who hasn't looked for the next thing like that? That's it. Stop. Hard stop.
Well, no, but what my point is for me, I'm materialistic in what I have. So once for my gym equipment, right, I want to have nice gym equipment, but at the point I can stop with. I'm not looking for the next thing. I'm not looking for the next thing to replace. This squat rack works, so why would I need to replace it? I'm only going to replace it if it breaks. I'm not going to stop getting enjoyment out of it when its uses are still the same. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're happy and content with what you have, and you're not looking for that next best thing,
Yep.
why shouldn't you have the best thing in that industry?
No, that's fine.
So if someone live within their means, and and they did buy a Ferrari and had the nice house, but they were just happy and content with that, they should have it.
Okay, yeah,
But
fine.
it's the ones that
The likelihood of someone living in a house and having a Ferrari and then going, I'm content with life now. The people who buy Ferraris.
Yeah.
You know the life that they tend to try and portray they live. It's not like, it doesn't seem fulfilling. It doesn't seem genuine. It's like.
But my point is that people can have nice materials, and be content with life, and not look for the next best thing.
Yeah.
It's at what point do we cross that line? Or what point are we dissatisfied or unsatisfied with what we have? Because my bike sitting upstairs is probably one of my biggest expenses, probably worth now more than my car, right? But I'm not looking for that next best bike now. I've got that bike, so I'm happy with that. But at what point in time are people happy with what they have?
I don't know, because that's something essential for a hobby you have. So it's like that is pleasure, that is in your leisure time. But it's like, but your hobbies do make you happy. Like it's not like something that's like, for example, the reason I use the Ferrari as an example. We live in Kent. In a Toyota, can I drive to Manchester? Yeah. Can I drive to Manchester in a Ferrari? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's the difference? 10 miles an hour more. Probably. And you actually, with a fucking speed limit, no, it isn't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You get caught up in one of these cameras, 65 fucking. Well, actually, to be fair, people who ride a Ferrari are probably not worried about fines too much. But it's like,
no.
If you're like, it's actually like you're just getting somewhere faster. You don't taking the moment anymore. It's just like everything about like supercars just to me seems so materialistic. It's like in the nature. It's even I want to drive faster. But it's like I want to drive faster. So you literally want to take in life less. Like it's just so frustrating. It's just like you are never going to enjoy any moment of your life. You're never in the present. You're always here or there. You're always in the past or in the fucking future. How about living in the present? It's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? It bothers me. But hey, maybe I'm wrong.
I can resonate with getting places faster, because we all want to get to that next place a little bit faster. And I think that's what part of our problem, but part of the fun. So when you get on the bike, right? So for me on the bike, I want to go fast. And when we're running, we want to go faster. Everyone's aim is to be a little bit faster.
That's a goal. That's a goal of yours.
Okay, but it's a goal. But we apply that on a broad spectrum. We apply that, so travel now, when we go across, thank God for planes, really. Like, I'm not religious, by the way. I don't know why I said thank God.
Get back on the boats.
But it's harmful and detrimental to, I suppose, the world. But at the same time, we're now privileged that we can get on a plane and be somewhere within a couple of hours. So thank you for speed. Thank you for that advancement. So it's something that we have to hone in on ourselves and go, okay, I need to slow things down on this part, but this part I'm okay with moving quicker in life.
I know. It's very true. It's very true. We've fell down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't get onto the egg debate again, because me and Rob have had this debate about eggs so many times. It's like, when I eat eggs, I just feel like a champ. When Rob eats eggs, he probably feels like he's just killed a champ.
Don't eat eggs.
It's fucking bad.
Yeah, just tofu. Tofu scrambled.
Oh God.
Bit of black salt.
Oh God, the tofu. It just tastes like dried feet. Oh, I just don't know how.
Each their own.
Do you actually enjoy? Have you ever met someone who enjoyed the taste of tofu?
I like it. I cut it up and I don't even have to flavour it. I can eat it. I don't even have to cook it.
That's been our second podcast, everybody. Thank you very much. Okay, you see, Rob going on about before we get into the tofu, everybody. Do you know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Maybe that's a topic for another podcast. Thank you all for watching, everybody. We appreciate you. Subscribe, like, comment, please. Share if you fancy it. It will help us out. Thank you all. Have a good day.
And let us know what you want to see more of. Like, ultimately, we're doing it for an audience. We want to build an audience. And if you want to see something, see us discuss a certain topic of yours, then let us know in the comments, because equally, we'd love to hear about it. All right. Thank you very much. Peace.